This is new territory for Formula E. They are back in Miami for the first time since Season 1, a new track, and it is a roval. Let's have a bit of a talk about the Miami ePrix. Now, I mean, it's not entirely fair to say that this is the first time we are going to be on a roval, because, well, I mean, both the Mexico ePrix do kind of go against that point. The Mexico City one uses the F1 track, but it also uses the oval configuration for part of it, and the other one that they did outside Mexico City at Puebla used the similar kind of road course oval configuration. The difference is this is a proper, mile and a half oval, the kind of stuff you see NASCAR race on. In fact, NASCAR was already there a few weeks ago. But the difference is, much like with Puebla, they're not actually using the banked 1, 2, 3 or 4. Instead, they use the infield road course. There's a slight variety on it as well, in that the backstretch there's going to be a chicane, just so it makes it a bit more kind of Formula E in the way that you can slow down and regen the battery. Though, interestingly enough, for what I've seen from the Formula E subreddit, apparently it's measured at 0.005 of a kilometre shorter than the official road course, which is a bit strange. I mean, we are talking, 5 centimetres, but it's still strange. Now, we can't really look back to the previous Miami ePrix for a trend of how things are going. Partially because it's in the inaugural season, partially because it was at Biscayne Bay, which is actually in Miami. Homestead, Miami is in Homestead. And partially because not only we talk about the Gen 1s, but also we're talking about a completely different grid. Just for a matter of context, there were 4 driver changes for the Miami ePrix last time around. Loic Duval replacing Oriol Servia, Scott Speed replacing Marco Andretti, Charles Pic replacing Hopin Tung, and Vincenzo Liuzzi replacing Michele Cerruti. In terms of that, also the fan base went to Salvador Duran, Jev, and Bruno Senna. So Jev still is recognisable. Nico Prost took the win over Scott Speed, with Daniel Abt in 3rd. Drivers that raced then, that are still racing now: Antonio Felix da Costa, Sam Bird, Lucas Di Grassi, Sam Buemi, Jean-Eric Verne. 5 drivers. I think instead we can look back at the previous United States race, the Portland ePrix last season, which Antonio Felix da Costa won both of. It was a happy hunting ground for Porsche. Robin Freins was second in both of them, so the Jaguar powertrains did do quite well as well. At the same time, Jean-Eric Verne got the podium in race 1. In race 2, it went the way of Mitch Evans. Pascal Wehrlein was 4th in race 1, or race 2 even. Race 1, it was Ida Mortara. So it was actually quite nice in terms of the variety between the different drivers and where these different drivers ended up. But those top 2 were about 3 seconds clear of 3rd place in race 2. So there are some bits that we can use to track onto it in terms of acceleration and deceleration. But you're talking, well, 2 tracks that really couldn't be much more different. Granted, Xfinity Series NASCAR races are both, but Portland is all the way up in the northwest, and at the same time, Homestead is all the way down in the southeast. One of them is a dedicated road course with a drag strip on it. The other one is an oval with a infield road course. So I'd say there's more data to track off of from Portland, because some of the corners are a bit similar on the infield at Homestead. But even then, there's no kind of perfect comparison to the track at Homestead. But let's look at a forecast instead, and by the looks of things, the minimum temperature will be around the time of practice, about 16 degrees Celsius. Qualifying will see it go up to about 22, with the race being at a handy, nice 27 degrees. With precipitation down at 15% around the time of qualifying at the race. Now let's talk about the schedule. Now, the website is listing an FP1. I believe that'll be about 4:30 p.m. local time on the Friday. But most of the stuff is happening over Saturday because it's a standalone 1-race event. Local time then, 7:30 a.m. for practice. It's going to be an early start for the drivers. 9:40 a.m. for qualifying. And then 2 p.m. for the race. In terms of GMT then, or UTC, that is at 8:30 p.m. on Friday FP1, 11:30 a.m. FP2, 1:40 p.m. qualifying, and 6 p.m. race. And for myself in the UK on British summertime, that is a 9:30 p.m. FP1, a 12:30 p.m. FP2, a 2:40 p.m. qualifying according to the stat sheet here, and then a 7 p.m. race start. So, could be a long Saturday night. Now, in terms of ones to watch, I would say the points leader Oliver Rowland is going to be one of those ones you want to keep an eye out for. He's currently leading by 17 points, but we didn't see him in Portland last year, so we don't really know how he would fare at a track like Portland, and if I'm saying that could track across somewhat to Homestead, we don't know how you'd do there. In terms of his results this season, I mean a first, a second, and the first of the final 3 races, or the last 3 races even, that is going to be quite a nice measure to look at, but at the same time, his performances in Misano last year are good ones to watch out for. He's been relentlessly consistent since he's joined Nissan, more or less. So he's going to be someone to keep an eye out for. At the same time, I would keep an eye out on what's going to happen with the Porsches. Pascal Wehrlein's had quite a tricky start to his title defence, and Antonio Felix Costa, like I said, swept the last time that the Formula E series was in the States. So both of them are going to be people to keep an eye out for. At the same time, Max Gunter's probably going to try and make amends for that atrocious start to race 2 at Jeddah, whilst Taylor Ballard is going to be probably looking to try and capitalise on his magnificent performance at the start of this season as well, and continuing to try and get one up on Sam Bird. But in terms of teams that will really want to show a bit of a turnaround, Jaguar's only got 2 points finishes so far this season. A win in Sao Paulo and a 5th place in Jeddah. 1 score for each of its drivers. They are going to be looking to try and make an improvement. Mahindra are going to be trying to beat their points tally from 2023-24 from season 10. And Maserati, who have supposedly seen their attempted takeover fall through, will be wanting to prove that they are worth their while to anybody looking to invest in the team. Anyways, those are my thoughts, those are my predictions, and let me know yours in the comments section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching and joining, folks, and I look forward to sharing my findings when we do a proper debrief and review for the race late on Saturday. Until next time, it's bye for now.